still.
There's a lot of fun matchups for me at 45. You know, the goal is always to get the belt back.
How much of a problem is Max Holloway for the UFC? Is Max Holloway the problem in that division because he keeps winning? Do you reckon they look at him and they be like, please God, will someone beat this man so we can get him out of here and shove some new guys in? He is a guy that's so goddamn good that he's batting down all the other contenders, doing Volk's hard work for him, and then just cannot win. It is such an awkward bottleneck right now in that division.
Yeah, because they have a new star in Volk now. Max inadvertently has become a problem because he is so good, doesn't show the want to move up to 155, and he's deservedly of title shots because he's still beating top guys.
He has been eternally in that number 2 position. We've definitely done lists where there's the guys who couldn't win the belt, guys who hung around for a while, like John Fitch, but they always ultimately lost, and Max hasn't got to that point yet. He's still beating these contenders like Arnold Allen on his like epic win streak.
He beat Rodriguez as well, didn't he, Max?
Yeah, he beat Yair Rodriguez. He's beaten everybody apart from Volkanovski.
Do you think that Max Holloway could beat Volkanovski? What do you change?
I guess he needs to kick him more. That's probably the only thing you could say. In terms of the boxing exchanges, Volk is just way too quick and way too slick. The reach of Max isn't great. The way he's able to land all these boxing combinations on other guys is because I guess that their footwork isn't as good as Alex, who's very good at sort of entering and exiting, but also making you guess about when he's going to do it. And then also in the exchanges, he's very good at slipping and firing back. You know, his reaction speed's very high. So against someone like Volk, I feel like you have to like sit on the outside and kick him because you have to outrange him without engaging in the boxing range. This is why Islam had a lot of success early on, because he just body kicked the fuck out of him. So it's like if Max can employ some kind of hardcore kicking game, then yeah, I feel like that could maybe change the strategy.
He's had so much success doing what he does, implements so strategically against all of the other best fighters in the world.
But all those other 145ers, they all just box. There's only one person in that division that kicks, and that's Yair Rodriguez.
We did just see him fight Arnold Allen though with a very different game plan. It was very slow, it was very measured. Maybe Max thought Arnold would offer more than he did because Arnold very much did just kind of box him where there was no real wrestling, not really a kicking game at all. But I think maybe that, you know, he is still improving in his game. You know, he's showing a measured approach. He's not just doing the Blessed Express all the time.
Usually when you get those people that we talked about, like Joseph Benavidez, John Fitch, who sit there in that position, they stay there because they're so effective at what they do, but they never evolve beyond that point. So they'll never beat the champion because they've never evolved to the point where they can accumulate the new skills necessary to do so. But if you are right, he kind of did show a bit of a change in the Arnold Allen fight. So maybe we'll see even more of a change in the zombie fight, even though he could just box him. It's not like Max is going to go in there and be like, oh, I'll go easy on him. I won't beat the piss out of him because I'm much faster and I can hit and move, and he stands still and he'll get destroyed.
It's a terrible fight to make. The matchmaking isn't very good, but let's be honest, where are they currently in the old top 10? Does the fight itself actually make sense from a contendership point of view?
I mean, he's just going to get beaten up.
Yeah, but he might go, fuck it, I'm just going to go to the ground. I hate getting knocked out, and these last few fights where I've just had the snot kicked out of me, maybe I'm just going to go for a Imanari roll, go for the knee.
He's number 7 and Max is number 2.
Is this fight more for Max than it is for Korean Zombie? Is this an opportunity though for the UFC to put Max in a fight where he can do some I'm the best boxer in the UFC sort of shit and then put him in some other firefights? But who else is Max going to fight now?
Well, I was hoping he'd fight someone like Ilia Topuria or Josh Emmett, but they're making those two fight each other. The risk there is that Max beats one of those guys and then, you know,
then we're in a stalemate.
Yeah, then Max goes back in for the title, I guess, is the problem there. So he's making a bit of an issue. But at the same time, they're making Whittaker Duplessis. So if he beats him, then you're going to get another Izzy fight.
We've had the trouble with that with these couple of divisions for quite a while where they kind of have two champions. It's not only is it difficult to watch two people fight each other numerous amounts of times, it also then becomes difficult for the champion because like we saw recently when Max fought Arnold Allen, it's then stripping Volk of another contender.
There's a few fun matchups at 55, you know. I've seen a bunch of people wanted to see a bunch of fights up there with me, so but it's always tempting to go there, you know. You got killers up there and those fights excite me.
Does Max Holloway really just do all the hard work for Volkanovski Volkanovski for the entirety of the last of his career. Because essentially that's what's happening, is Max is doing Volk's handiwork for him.
I think it's like dare to be great and go up and try and fight the bigger guys and win a double belt, which is great for your legacy. But I don't think we should forget it's also because there's no contenders.
Apart from Topuria, there's no like surging, undefeated, scary looking dude.
That's the thing about Arnold Allen as well. He was that, and then Max just beat him quite easily, and it was like.
It's interesting as well though for Max, if he did go up to 155, there was always that conversation with Habib and Max Holloway. They were supposed to fight as well. When Max was the champion, he was going to come up, and then he had
They stopped him from cutting weight.
Yeah, because he had that awkward moment talking to Michael Bisping. People were really, really excited about it as well. It was like, well, could Max Holloway be the guy to beat Habib? But now, if he did go up to 155, he's got Islam there with a very similar style that maybe we could finally test that. How Max would actually do against a Dagestani champion. But you're right, though. He needs to make that leap. He needs to be brave enough to go, do you know what? My career has just stalled out here. No fault of my own other than the fact that Volkanovski is just such a great champion. But now maybe the time is for me to go up to lightweight and just have a bit of fun. Anderson Silva did it from time to time because the reality of it was he stalled out that division as well. He was a dominant champion. Stephan Bonner, he fought James Irvin, he fought Forrest Griffin, he fought DC, at the end, obviously at the end of his career. But he did start making those jumps because those were the exciting money-making fights for him personally to do as well. So perhaps that's something that Max probably needs to think about. It's not necessarily about getting back to the 145-pound title now. It's about cementing his legacy as a man who really showed his dominance in multiple weight classes.
I mean, you could definitely throw him in there with like Chandler or Gaethje and have like a crazy fight.
Max has always said it's not a championship mentality, it's a championship responsibility. So I feel like a lot of his identity is in being champion. However, when he talks, he doesn't sound like he's ready to slow down at all, or, you know, make some really big fights at the end of his career. So I think he has put himself in this position where he's happy to wait for another title shot, even though it would be a fourth one against the same guy. And the last time he fought him, it was not a good showing for Max at all.
There's one thing we've not talked about is what if Yair beats Alex? Max doesn't need to leave the division if there is a route back to the title, and that's depending on what happens in the next fight with Yair and Alex. So actually, the zombie fight is kind of the perfect fight for Max. Just if he wants to fight, then let's put him in against someone where we're not going to lose a contender. He's probably got a good chance of winning, so he can keep himself in that title position because he is still a really popular guy. And a fight where he can put on a good display and add to his highlight reel and build hype up. Then if Yair wins, well then, you know, we can shimmy Max back towards the title if we need to.
Oh, that's definitely the game plan.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they're leaving him there. They're putting him in this fight with Korean Zombie just in case that does happen. But if that doesn't happen and Volkanovski does just obliterate Rodriguez and wins again, then you've just got Max and Volk again.
Well, no, because you would do the winner of Ilia Topuria Emmett in that situation, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Then what would happen to Max?
He'd fight the loser of that fight, probably.
But he's winning
Emmett
all
on
the
another
time.
main card against Max in the
But
Apex.
that's the thing for him personally. I mean, it's great to just have Max there in that division maybe for the UFC because he's always going to be sort of like a perpetual backup just in case. But for him personally, what does that do for him? For the fighters, it doesn't really bother them that much, does it? Ultimately, they can perpetually fight if they wanted to. But from a fanship perspective, is there a lot of money in seeing a fourth fight or seeing them perpetually fight? Is it good business for the UFC to allow that to consistently happen over and over again?
But yeah, I feel like how dominantly Volk has shown himself above Max is like, it's not exciting. And personally for me, I don't really need to see it.
I think if they fight 10 times, I reckon Max can still win one of those 10.
9 out of 10 times.
I'm not saying he's
So
like...
we have to see them fight 9 times.
No, I'm not saying that's... It's not really how that works, is it? It's more just like he has a chance. He has a 10% chance.
Also, is there a really good opportunity for Max to maybe move to another promotion, get a big payday doing so, and coast out the rest of his career?
Well, like David Beckham.
Yeah, exactly like David Beckham. Goes and signs with
LA Galaxy.
LA Galaxy. To be fair, they do that in football all the time, don't they? The big European stars go over to the US because the US are paying them a shitload of money.
Messi just signed with Inter Miami. All tickets sold out for the whole season. He's the highest paid player ever.
That's crazy, actually, isn't it?
You can't lie, having Max Holloway in the PFL 145 tournament makes it quite exciting to see him just like run through a bunch of guys and like... That does sound pretty
He
good.
could fight 2 people at the same
I
time.
almost feel like I would rather watch that. I would rather watch him do that than fight some of the guys he's already fought, you know?